All right, we're here with Coach Wesley Tankersley, head coach of the Gilmer Bobcats, for our weekly coaches show. Coach, welcome back. Congratulations on your big homecoming win over Lafayette, 38-7. That's a big win. Obviously, you always want to win every game, especially for the crowd. So more to speak, on homecoming is always a big game. Talk a little bit about that game and what you guys took from it.
It was probably our most complete game so far as offensively anyway. We scored on pretty much every possession we had. We ended up having there before the half. Ended up not scoring on a possession when I went for it on fourth down, but that was really, that was on like the 2-yard line. So. Every possession I think we took advantage of, especially there in the first half. We didn't, get inside the 20 and, have things bogged down like we had in a couple of games before that. Offensively, I felt like it was probably our best overall performance as far as that kind of stuff went. Penalties offensively, I think we still had a couple, but we didn't have any that were 15-yarders or anything that we couldn't overcome. That was good. Defense played well, and we ended up giving up a score late in the third, which never makes you happy, obviously, because I felt like the kid had let up a little bit,
right?
Just because they were up and winning, but. Overall, it was a good performance for us. It was a good performance going into the bye week last week. We were able to kind of rest a little bit, as much as we can, but also prepare for Cass and get ready for a very athletic, big, football team. They got some very talented kids over there, and their backs are against the wall a little bit since they lost to Pickens last week, and we're going to have to come to play to be able to get a win.
Now, Coach, you talked about how you didn't have the big penalties. Was the chop blocking something you had been emphasizing over the last few weeks due to it being called?
Not really. Like I said, looking back at the film, I didn't see the chop blocking penalties. If we had actually seen some chop blocking from what we were looking at, I think we probably would have emphasized it a little bit more. But as far as our coaches were concerned, we really didn't have any. That really wasn't that big a deal.
All right, Coach, I also want to ask about, now, you said you had the one stop, you went for it on fourth down. When, obviously, you guys have a great kicker in Lopez. What goes into when you decide to go for it as opposed to take the three?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Intuition. I don't know. It just kind of, we were up 21-0, and I felt like if we got a touchdown there, we'd put the game away for good.
Right.
So I guess that was probably the thinking on that. And we had seen on film that they had been coming pretty hard off the edge too, and Thaddeus should have thrown the ball. He had the option to throw it or run it, and should have thrown it because we had a tight end wide open in the end zone. He tried to run it, and the guy was a little bit faster than him, caught him on the one there.
Right.
So, it's just one of those things where you sometimes you take chances on stuff like that off of things you see on film, and I didn't think they would, be able to cover, and they really didn't. We just didn't execute it very well.
Right. Now, speaking of Thaddeus Bowers, he's played well for you. He was 2 or 3 the other night. Talk a little bit about having a guy that you can count on to come in when your starter, Chris James, is hurt.
Yeah. It's been big for us. He's come in twice for us. Played well in our Murphy scrimmage back before the season started, and he came in the Dalton game, and we felt like without the preparation really of being a starter, played well for us and handled that situation well. And obviously, I think the offense flowed very well against Lafayette with him in there. He does what we ask him to do, and that's really all we want from him is to do that and manage the offense. And the biggest thing is if we're not turning the ball over at quarterback, I think we're going to be all right most of the time. And so we haven't had that from either quarterback, so that's been a good thing for us.
Now, to stay with the quarterbacks, you guys in your offense, the quarterback is a part of the run game. How do you balance, especially when you're down to your second string, you obviously don't want to go down to third string. You never want to see a kid get hurt. But with the quarterback, you generally don't want the quarterback to take as many hits. But in your offense, he's gonna take hits.
Yep.
How do you balance? Is there something you tell them about a certain point to slide or to go down?
I mean, we don't generally stress that too much. It's just kind of in most of our quarterback situations anyway, it's kind of a run-pass option many times too. So we really don't try to stress that, to be honest with you. Just try to get them to get out there and make plays, and if something happens, something happens. That's just to us, that's the nature of the game, and like I said, we feel confident even with just Thaddeus in there and having one backup. We had Corey Waters getting reps that week, and Corey's played quarterback for us before, and he can run the ball well too. So, it's not one of those things where we would just be down to our freshmen or anything like that. At that position, I think we've got enough flexibility there to be all right no matter what happens.
Okay, speaking of the run game, you guys piled up 415 yards against Lafayette. You had 10 different guys carrying the ball. Bertinelli had 109, Ramirez had 90 yards, and you guys averaged around 15 yards a carry. When your running game is going like that, do you feel like your offense is almost unstoppable?
We feel like that anyway, generally. That's how we try to approach, each week. We feel like, we tell the kids the only people that can stop us are us. And that's the mentality we have with them. Obviously you're going to come up against some good defenses sometimes that are going to stop you, but, we always feel like if we block and execute, what we're coached to do and do it 100 miles an hour, that, if we execute the play that's called, then, we should be able to get at least 3 or 4 yards of play, and if we don't turn the ball over, then we're going to keep moving the ball down the field. So, that's one thing we really try to do is not have negative plays and not have turnovers, and at least get 0 to 3 yards and live to play another down, and that's something that's worked for us over the last 3 or 4 years.
All right, now, Coach, so switch gears a little bit about your defense. You had Austin Davis come off a big game, 5 solo tackles, 6 assists. Austin Cole also had 6 solo tackles and 3 assists. You had 13 different players record a solo tackle. Why is your defense so good, and what makes them so good at tackling specifically?
I don't know that we're that great. I kind of hang my hat on the defensive side of the ball. There's obviously always things that concern me, defensively and things that we do. But we have played well. I think we have the potential to be really, really good on defense. I usually try to put seniors on that side of the ball as well. Try to put guys that have a lot of experience on that side of the ball, because they're a little bit more physically mature and mentally mature than maybe some of the other kids that we have. And so that's one thing that even before the season starts, that we try to do the best that we can. We do a tackling circuit at least once a week, generally, of about 4 or 5 different scenarios that the kids go through. They go through with their positions, and we might work open field tagging. We might work just our form. We might work angle tackling or some form of tackling that we feel like we need to work on that week. So we generally do that each week on Tuesday. So I think over time, I don't know that helps every week, but I think over time it makes you a little bit better probably at tackling. And a lot of it's effort too. It really is. A lot of that's effort, and the kids also have an effort in the weight room. You're always going to tackle better if you're stronger and more confident in yourself. So, there's a lot of things that obviously go into it. Gang tackling and getting a lot of people to the ball is always a big thing you want to see as well, because at some point in time that somebody's going to get loose. But if you've got 2 or 3 people there, then you can definitely got a better opportunity of getting that person to the ground.
Now let me ask you this. Tackling, it seems, in football has gotten worse over the years. And I really think it's because the physicality of football is being taken back with everything we're learning about injuries and concussions. How do you balance having physical practices with trying to protect the health of your kids?
Well, even with our tackling circuit, I mean, we usually do about 4 drills there, and 2 of them are, pretty tough drills where they're really getting some hits in, and then the other ones are drills where they're working on form and different things of that nature. They're not just tackling 1,000 miles an hour for each of those drills. So you try to do it that way a little bit, and you kind of try to limit, in practice time, how many hits possibly they're taking. I mean, Tuesdays are usually a pretty big day for us to really get a lot of full pad and really go after it. Wednesdays we kind of scale it back a little bit. We still go full pads, but we don't take people to the ground on Wednesdays. You try to scale it back a little bit that way. But as far as being physical and trying to be tough and that sort of thing, it just has to be a mentality that you have as a football team, and I think that's one reason that that's one reason I choose to run offense like we do, because I want our kids to be tough, and I think that that offense kind of presents itself to you have to be able to hit, you have to be able to block, you have to want to do those things if your offense. If our wing T offense wants to be successful, and I think that carries over on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Now, Coach, you have Cass coming in. You're starting your sub-region play. We've been talking about it all year, and obviously the emphasis is always on the sub-region. You want to win every game, but now you're getting to the meat of it, the games that decide whether or not you go to the playoffs. Talk a little bit about the mentality going forward as opposed to earlier in the year.
Well, we've told the kids, and I told them that after the Lafayette game, I go, we're basically 0-0 in my book now, and we're in a 4-game playoff to see if we can get a chance at a playoff spot in the last week, and I think that's how you have to view each game. Each game coming up is of the same importance. There's none more importance than the one you're on, and you have to view it that way and not look ahead and not look behind. You just got to be focused on the task at hand.
Now, speaking of not looking ahead and not looking behind, your next 2 games played each other last week. When you're obviously going to watch film from that game, you're going to scout that game because they're in your sub-region. When you watch that film, and especially when it happens to be both the teams you're playing literally in consecutive weeks, is that film different than, say, Cass playing a team that you don't play or Pickens playing a team that you don't play when you're watching that film?
I mean, not for me. I try to compartmentalize that and try to stay as focused on the team that we're playing. But I think you do, obviously. And I think we've talked about this before. I mean, you're always going to look at the other side and see what they're doing as well, and you'll look and see what they're doing good, because you kind of look at Pickens and try to see some of the things that they did good, because you might want to emulate and try some things like that as well. So I mean, you look at both sides a little bit. You look at one side obviously more than the other,
right?
But it does give you I guess a little bit of a head start on the next week. It's really all it does.
Now, and obviously, I always want to preface this with saying, but not giving too much away. Talk a little bit about some of the specifics of the challenges that Cass will be presenting to you guys this week.
Well, Cass is really a senior-laden group. They got a lot of people back from last year. They're very athletic. Their offensive line is big. They're physical. I mean, they do present a lot of challenges. I know. Right now their record doesn't look good, but golly bum, they're getting off the bus and seeing them on the field, and they look really good, and they can hurt you at any point in time. And we're going to have to play a great game Friday to be able to come away with a win. try to be as mistake-free as we can. And like you said, we're going to have to tackle well. They're, one of their running backs run the ball really hard, and if we don't tackle and get people the ball, then they're going to break big runs on us. And so it's definitely going to be a challenge. The game they had with Pickens was close for most of the game. They had a couple of turnovers there at the end, and I think really broke it open for Pickens. So we know it's going to be a battle, and we're just going to have to be ready to play 4 quarters and know that they're going to do some good stuff. And we've got to be able to handle adversity when it comes.
Now, does playing on the road or at home make much of a difference in high school? I know obviously you always want to be in front of your home crowd and whatnot, but the crowd noise isn't that big a factor, but you're still dealing with 14, 15, 16-year-old kids.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of changes with the kids, I think. And when I first got here, we actually played better on the road than we did at home. And here recently, I think we played better at home than we have on the road. So, I think for this group, I think we do play better at home. So that is obviously a concern for me. But we just got to, I'll talk to kids tonight, and I actually plan on talking to them, see if there's anything that they would like to do differently, maybe pregame wise, that that might prepare them a little bit better for the game, that sort of thing. They haven't played terrible on the road, but I think we've played better at home this year, and I just want to make sure that we do everything we can to be comfortable when we go over there.
All right, now really last question here. When you're having success and you've had success, you've only lost 1 game, how do you balance between making sure your team is confident but not arrogant?
Well, I mean, that's hard with kids. I mean, it really is. It's hard with, like you said, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. That's hard to do sometimes. But I'm a pretty truthful guy with them. I kind of let them know what I'm thinking. I praise them and, build them up some, and I tear them down as well sometimes. So, I try to be as truthful with them as I can during the week and say, guys, this is what I see, and if you don't change it, then, we may have problems. I think probably truth is probably the best, the best medicine for me anyway, as far as dealing with them and letting them know what I'm seeing. You don't want to build them up too much, but you don't want to tear them down too much either. You want them, like you said, to be humble and to be confident at the same time.
All right, well, Coach, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.